Hi everyone, this is lesson 5.6. Today I can rename fractions as decimals and use rounding to interpret the remainder. Okay, so we are going to talk about how to turn fractions that we cannot use 10, 100, or 1,000 into decimals. And the easiest way to do this is to use division. If you take 1 and you divide it by 3, 3 does not go into 1. So how I solve this is I add a decimal here and add a 0 here. Now I have, can 3 go into 10? It can. It can go 3 times, and 3 times 3 is 9. So I subtract that, and I get 1. I add another 0. Can 3 go into 10? It can. 3 times, which would be 9. And this is just going to keep repeating itself. So what I know is that 33 is going to repeat, or that 3 is going to repeat. And this symbol, this line above the 3, is the repeating symbol, which tells me that the 3 is going to go on and on and on and on and on and on. So 1/3 is the same as 33%. 4/10, well, I know, I just told myself what my decimal is going to be. 4 in the tenths place. So I have 4/10. I could put a 0 here, but it's not necessary. Okay, so if I have 1/8, I know that I can't turn 8 into a 10, I can't turn it into 100, and I cannot turn it into 1,000. So I'm going to have to divide. 1 divided by 8. 8 does not go into 1, so I add a decimal and a 0. Can 8 go into 10? Once. Oops, clicked the wrong thing. Once. So when I subtract, I get 2. I add another 0. 8 into 20. Is twice, which is 16. When I subtract, I get 4, add another 0. 8 into 40 is 5. So when I do this, I would get 125. Or I can round. So if I'm looking for a percent, I don't want to say that I have 125 thousandths. If I want a percent, I would have to say that this is 12.5, or I could round it to 13%. Okay? When you have a whole number, you just bring it right over. You don't do anything with it. And then you would do 5 divided by 6. Add the decimal, add the 0. 6 into 50 would be 8, which is 48. I subtract and get 2, add the 0. 6 into 20 would be 3, and I'd get 18. I'm going to start over here, and I'd get 2 left over, add the 0. 6 into 20 would be 3 again, subtract 18, and that's just going to go on and on. So my answer here would be 0.833, and rounding rules would tell me that the 3 would tell this 3 that it would just stay there, so I would get 9.83. I want you to try these 2 questions. Remember, if you can't turn it into a 10, 100, or 1,000, you simply do a division problem. When you have a whole number, you bring it straight over. Okay? Have a good night.